Hi, my name's Martin Corrigan,
And I'm Scott Manley Hadley.
and welcome to the Big Bald Book Club, a place where two comedians, one bald by nature, the other bald by choice, review books in a no-nonsense manner. I am the dull knife, pretty much, who prefers more pictures than words, and Scott Manley Hadley is the more educated of the two in English literature and the finery within
Yeah, you can
compositions.
tell. I mean, I read a lot. I've read a lot. If anything, I've read too much.
You've read too much, but you have you have your own blog where you review your own books, and you may help me understand the intricacies of.
Exactly, and I hope you will help me to learn that there's more to life than books. Right?
I'm going to call you out
It's
on
an
a few
exchange,
things.
right? I'll help you read more. You'll help me read less.
Yeah, and this is the great thing. We're only going to be starting to very basic. We'll maybe recover our high school literature first, and then we'll delve into the harder stuff. But it'll be what's the phrase I'm looking for?
I don't know. I mean, this is coming straight out of you.
It'll help me, I think, read more and understand books more and what's going on in it, because I'm not great at reading. But yeah, we're going to pick a Penguin classic pretty much every week and go through it and see what happens. And this week we've picked The Great Gatsby,
The Great Gatsby
by F. Scott Fitzgerald.
It is a classic. It's a classic. What we'll do is we'll talk about the book itself a little bit for those of you who haven't read it, though I presume a lot of people tuning into a podcast about The Great Gatsby have probably read The Great Gatsby, right?
Or watched it.
Or watched it, exactly. There's a very good. I mean, I haven't seen it. There's a Baz Luhrmann film with Leonardo DiCaprio from about 10 years ago. There's got to be other films of it, right?
Yeah, or listen to it, because audiobooks are a valid form of literature. Absolutely. First thing, F. Scott Fitzgerald, bit of a mad fucker.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had a bit of a rough time. I think a lot of people. This was the jazz age, right? People just getting high on jazz all the time. Jazz was new, and people weren't ready for it.
It just wasn't jazz. But he sort of wrote this book, and it's about. For me, it's like, here's all the mental parties that are happening in the 20s and 30s. He wrote this after the Great Depression in America.
No, it would have been just before the Great Depression. So this is the party before the hangover of the Great Depression. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So this is when the financial markets were new, when people were throwing money around. This was the boom before that bust.
That's what brings us back to Nick Carraway, the main character who we hear the story through, because he has moved to the East Coast to be a bondsman and to learn stock trading and to get into that whole thing, and gets himself caught up in a massive drama between long lost lovers.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of phrase it like that. I mean, I think let's talk through the plot quickly, right?
I could phrase it phrase it a much different way, which I think would be more accurate from my point of view, and just going he lands into this bunch of assholes just going playing power games with money.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's happening, right? I mean, I think there's a reason why this is a book that it's from the 1920s, early 1920s, I think, and it's been a thing people read in high school, in undergraduate English literature courses for many, many decades, because it's fucking good, right? And it's hitting all of these important conversations about class, about the way people have relationships, about capitalism, about travel, about big cities, about responsibility, about addiction, about partying, about
morality.
What you want from your life.
Morality as well, because it sort of goes over the topic, and then you're thinking nobody thinks that anybody's doing anything wrong here, because
it's set in the middle of Prohibition, right?
It is
when alcohol was illegal, and everyone in The Great Gatsby is just boozing all the time.
Yeah, I've not got a problem with that. I'm big fan of that. That's what made it more real for me. It was just people are just going to a massive house party and having a sesh. But you've got, spoilers, you've got Nick Carraway, moves out to the East Coast to meet his cousin Daisy, and ends up meeting her husband Tom.
The Buchanans.
The Buchanans. Turns out that Gatsby, Carraway's neighbour, has met Daisy before. They're long lost lovers, or unrequited love.
It's all ambiguous, isn't it? So Jay Gatsby lives next. So Nick Carraway moves to New York from the Midwest to get into the financial world, and he decides to be a commuter. Yeah, so he's living out on Long Island, and most other people living out on Long Island are people just hanging out. Most of them aren't people that work. There's a lot of money around. And he lives over the bay from where Daisy and Tom Buchanan, who are super rich, live in their big, fancy mansion. But right next door to Nick Carraway is this gaudy new money house that a guy built before he went bankrupt. And it's now been bought by someone called Jay Gatsby, who's mysterious, but has a lot of cash and hosts a lot of parties. And this guy, Jay Gatsby, is in love with Daisy.
Yes.
And he's someone who he was a poor guy. He was a soldier, had a little romance with a fancy uptown girl, and then he went away to the war. And yeah, she forgot about him, but he didn't forget about her, and so came back and decided to make himself a lot of money in order to try and find her. And that's what the novel is kind of about, right? It's him. He's hosting these big parties in the hope that she'll just show up one time.
Yeah,
doesn't.
Because he sees this light across the bay, the wee green light at the end of her pier, going like, "Oh, that's where the love of my life is," and she's probably looking across, going like, "God, their electric bill must be massive."
Yeah, because the novel keeps going on and on about all the lighting that Gatsby has at his parties.
Because that's like new technology.
Exactly.
It's like,
and
you're reading in the dark. How are you managing this?
And he's fancy, right? Like he's throwing this money around. There's champagne. There's musicians, there's dancers, there's costumes, there's decoration, and there's lighting. There's loads and loads of lighting. But that's the bit that Nick Carraway, because he's the narrator, right? So everything you see is from his perspective, and the lighting is the thing that he keeps coming back to. But the light across the bay is the thing that Gatsby keeps coming back to. So light is really important in the novel.
But how mad is that like you're like, Jesus, these guys have got electricity? I know it's like we're looking at 100 years in the past. Probably is just about 100 years ago. And they're going like, holy fuck, this guy has a candelabra. That was candles. Yeah. But he has
But he probably does have like an electric.
Yeah.
He's got lighting that's new. Like he's got stuff brought in from
chandeliers,
exactly.
Yeah, it's all electric.
And people just flock to these parties. No one knows exactly who he is or where his money's come from, but that's part of the fun, right? You turn up to this party, you get wasted on Gatsby's dime, then you go home. And no one really cares about him, and everyone's constantly telling rumors about him. I heard he made his money through this. I heard he did this. I heard he did this. I heard he studied here. I heard he's the son of the German president. You know, there's all these different rumors.
He was the son or the grandson of the Kaiser. Or something like that there, and then there was like the only one who nailed him right was Tom Buchanan and said he's a bootlegger. I think he said that from very early on. But
so Tom Buchanan is old money. He's like a polo player. He's proper fancy boy.
Because we never find out what he did for like work.
Tom Buchanan.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to work, right? It's all family money, all inheritance.
Is that like the level of like Cristiano Ronaldo in football, that he was that good of a polo player?
Oh no! It's just he's like aristocracy kind of thing, right? He doesn't need to work. He just goes around messing up with other people. I think it uses the word careless, right? He goes around being careless with other people's lives and then walks away from it. And that's kind of what the novel's a lot about, right? It's a way in which old money and new money means power, but only if you know how to use it. And Jay Gatsby doesn't know how to use his money to get power.
No, and that's different. It's like he wasn't born into it, but he ended up getting it. And now he's like, what do I do here? Throw massive parties.
Yeah, he's spending it all.
If he had just sent across a wee envelope across the water and just like, you're invited to a dinner party at Gatsby's residence, on over, he probably would have got her over a lot quicker.
Yeah, but then he wouldn't have made himself a mysterious man across the water, would he? You know, if he'd been more direct. Because he's not direct. The only way he gets Daisy to meet him is he manages to overhear one of the guests at his party, who's a celebrity golfer, a young woman celebrity golfer called Jordan Baker, who Nick Carraway briefly kind of dates later on in the novel. She knows Daisy, and that's how he's able to get her into his life. But Daisy and Tom, they're bad spouses. They're kind of tied together but hate each other. They're both having affairs. And you get the impression that they've both always been having affairs, kind of thing. It's not meant to be a happy marriage that used to be happy and is ruined by Gatsby. I
got it the other way. I thought Tom was always having them, and Daisy was like just.
This is the first time she's stepped away.
Yeah, but she is blissfully aware
She knows the whole time.
Yeah, she knows, like, because
exactly.
the phone will call in the middle of the night. Spoilers, by the way. It is a good book.
What did you? So you hadn't read this? I mean, I read this when I was a student. I reread it in my 20s. What were you expecting before you read it?
Well, back in school, we at this level we got to read Of Mice and Men.
Okay, nice.
Similar length, and I always think that my English teacher picked it because I was like the character Lenny. just this big dumb guy, and I think he was trying to warn the rest of my class to leave me alone. I was just like, this guy will grab you like Curly and break your hand, and then his mate's going to take him out and shoot him at the end of the class. So it's just like, oh, okay. But whenever, what did I get from this? Whenever I first,
what did you expect, and how was that? Did you sort of think it would just be a party novel kind of thing?
Yeah, I think we discussed that before. That it's like, I thought it was just going to be all over one weekend. It was going to be like a mad sort of like hangover road trip or American Pie movie. That this has all happened within a couple of weeks. Because again, I'm used to reading books like Dan Brown, where Robert Langdon's going to save the world this weekend. So everything just runs in, and it makes you read it so fast. Whereas this here was like, again, I make a joke of it that I can't read well, but it was like, what time has passed in this here? And it was like, Nick has only arrived. Tom's taken him away into the city for a bit of a party. He ends up meeting his mistress, comes back. In that time, Nick has to go start his job. I didn't even know if he was still working whilst this was going on. And it was just, that was very hard to read. But yeah, I thought it was just going to be a massive party novel where hijinks happen and like some sort of like events happen, and then Gatsby sort of finds love at the end of it. Or it was like, oh my god, I'm meeting this guy for a weekend. You'll come away and it's like, oh, this is a crazy, crazy weekend.
This Gatsby, he's great, kind of thing.
I was like, shit, there should be like 10 more books here. I was like, where's it going? But I want to, after we come back and have a look at a few adverts here, I want to go into the characters themselves and pretty much get your view on them, but why I think all of them are assholes.
Yeah, but I mean, they're people, aren't they? You know, and that's
they're fictional people. And fair play to F. Scott Fitzgerald, because he makes me hate every one of them. Right. Here
we're going to have a lovely little break.
Yeah, cool.
Hi, I'm Sam Rhodes, one of the co-founders of LAFS, the London Arts Facilitation Society. If you're enjoying watching or listening to any of this content, we'd really like you to donate a little bit of cash to help us build access to all of this wonderful stuff for working class people from all over England. You can go to lafs.org.uk to donate as little as £1 a month to help us keep the lights on and help us make lovely art, podcasts, comedy specials, and even professional wrestling for you at home. lafs.org.uk. Donate today. Go on, do it for the laughs.
And we're back.
We are back, yeah. It's like
love that advert.
Yeah, it's my first time hearing it, but I'm going to love every time that I hear it.
Good.
I think.
I'm glad. I'm very glad. I'm very glad.
We need like open bringers back into that there and just go like, yeah, that was amazing. No, that's okay. Right. So back to it. F. Scott Fitzgerald, what a guy. Great author, but
I mean, not a super healthy guy. You know, I think he
no
didn't. I think he had his demons.
No, he absolutely did. But the way he made me hate certain people to different degrees. So number one.
So who are the characters in the novel? And then you can tell me why you hate them. Right, so we've got Daisy and Tom Buchanan, the super rich couple. We've got Gatsby. We've got Nick Carraway. We've got the professional golfer Jordan Baker.
We've got Myrtle and George at the garage.
Yep,
type of thing.
Myrtle is Tom Buchanan's mistress. George is her dopey husband. I think is that.
Yeah, that is oblivious to what's going on, because every time the train comes through and Tom goes like, "Hey, Myrtle," and they just disappear for a weekend. Yeah, he's far too busy. It's too many fumes from the oil that he's working with. But right, we'll go through top to bottom. I think Nick Carraway, bit of a dick, right? I always read a book and I think like, oh, there's bound to be a likable character in this. But I was reading through it and I was going like, right, okay. First instance and like sort of the thing we see with him is that he ends up in this massive party in New York or New Jersey or something like that there with his cousin-in-law Tom Buchanan, who's married to his cousin Daisy,
Mm-hmm.
and he pretty much happily facilitates him cheating on her.
I mean, it's just the vibe, isn't it? It's just a big party, right? You know, don't yuck someone else's yum, right? It's what does he know about their marriage, right?
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was open, and I was like, I'd be pretty pissed off if like my family came along and then be like, oh shit, even if you were as awkward as you were.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, like Tom's having a go here at his bit on the side, Myrtle, in the spare room after they've bought a random puppy.
Yeah, what happened to that dog? They buy a dog. The dog never comes back. The dog's gone, right?
Dog's so dead.
Yeah.
They call the RSPCA on it. But
I mean, you used to be able to just buy a dog from a basket in the street, you know?
I don't even think it was in the street. Did he not hang it through the train window?
I mean, it's just a guy with a load of dogs. It's just a guy just selling dogs.
It sounds very aggressive. But, so, Nick Carraway, number one, facilitates Tom cheating on Daisy, but then also facilitates his cousin cheating on Tom with Gatsby.
Oh, he's kind of more involved in that one. He's kind of being the...
Yeah, he's the broker.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
Just like, I'm going to facilitate
it's like they're
this.
hanging out in his house, right?
Yeah. That was the first big meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then afterwards there was like parties at the. I think she ended up going to parties. Maybe that was just the film.
But he stops the parties, right? As soon as she's interested in him, Gatsby stops being a party host because she's not into the parties. But again, there's a vagueness to it. You don't know how long it goes on. Is it weeks? Is it months? It's not years.
Yeah.
But or is it even just days?
Because again, that's what I said. I thought this was happening over a weekend, the way I was reading. Because everything seemed like so rushed. It's like, yeah, let's get to New York. Let's do all this. Let's do that there.
Yeah, there's like whole working weeks in between, right? You know, Nick's got to go into town, make his finance bro money.
Reading his Bond books and stuff. Not about James Bond, but Bond's books.
Yeah, this is set before James Bond. Oh, man. Sad.
I wonder what James Bond's gadgets would have been in the early 1900s. Like, I've got a torch.
I mean, electricity is a powerful tool.
Absolutely, and but
Shocking.
It didn't lure Daisy across the water. So number one, Nick Carraway, asshole.
I'm just saying he's a party boy, you know.
Okay.
What the other people do at the parties, that's not on him.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can see that. Right. Tom Buchanan, by far the biggest asshole in the book.
Well, he in the first scene he's in, he just starts talking about racist conspiracy.
Oh yeah,
theories.
gotta protect the white race and all. Like,
yeah, and that's straight from the off.
Yeah,
but that's also like interesting because I think generally people think that rich Americans being white supremacists is a new thing. It's not a new thing.
No,
it's not a new thing.
It's a story as old as Gatsby. But were people reading that at the time, just going like, "Oh, I know where this guy's coming from." And
I mean, I think it's meant to.
It was an identifiable character that there was just a white supremacist.
This is that kind of guy, but like he talks about conspiracy theories later on. You know, he's he's a guy with time on his hands, right? All he does is he sits around, partying, having affairs, like reading trashy magazines.
Like, don't know if you've heard about this artist coming out of Germany right now in the 30s, but like I like the way he's talking. But
absolutely, Tom Buchanan would have been pro Hitler 10 years on. This
100%.
This guy, absolutely,
100%,
absolutely.
Daisy, bit of a dick because I think she's letting Tom away with like cheating because she knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm. But she's not happy about it.
She's not happy.
She's not happy about it.
Maybe not a dick. We need a different word for it.
But she's not doing anything to make her marriage better, right? She's not working on the marriage.
No, but even whenever they were getting married, she was just like, she had a breakdown a day before, and she's like, I don't want to do it. And then I think she got a stern talking to from her family.
Well, and he's got a lot of money.
Yeah, I think that was a winner. But yeah, well, she married for money, not love. That's dickish behaviour.
No.
That's number one out of the playbook. All right, there, library Archie there. Settle down. I love that library Archie. So she's a bit of a dick. Tom's a dick. Jordan Baker, the golfer, Daisy's friend, and Nick Carraway is sort of like love interest.
She cheats at golf. There was a little historic scandal about her. She's a professional golfer.
I think that might be the least dickish
The
thing.
least dickish thing.
The least.
In in James Bond, in Goldfinger, that's how Bond realizes Goldfinger's a really bad guy because he cheats at golf. Because he cheats at and that
Oh, he
if you're
shits the ball
cheating
out
at
of his leg.
golf, you're probably a master criminal.
Was that from his like sidekick and accomplice that he gets him to place a ball,
Something like
or
that.
something like he drops a ball? It's like, hey, and then he goes like, a Sean Connery movie, wasn't it?
Mhm,
But he was just like, how do you know he's cheating? He was like, because I have his ball.
Exactly. So I think in literature, cheating at golf is an important thing.
All right, well, we'll put down cheats at golf and unsportsmanlike behavior, but maybe not on like the scale of like 1 to 10. She's not that high. Who else?
And there's one big guy left, right? There's one big guy you got to talk about.
Gatsby.
Jay.
I call him more of a
grew up poor. Grew up
Yeah.
very poor. He joined the army. He got out of the army. He worked hard. Spent a bit of time studying overseas. Came back to America. And made a lot of money.
studied under a millionaire on a boat allegedly.
And he's a criminal. Like he's involved in gambling syndicates, in bootlegging, something else that is kind of vague but isn't really explained very much. But he's involved in organized crime.
I'm calling him a coward rather than a dick. He does a dickish thing later, which I think he totally could have saved himself. But he can literally see the woman he loves across the water, had 3 to 4 years to go and do something about it, and doesn't do it. That is dickish behaviour.
Well, he didn't. He only just got the money to. So he knows she married a super rich guy. So he thinks he has to compete because they dated when he was a poor soldier.
Yeah, if Disney has taught me anything, it's not money, it's love. It's like it's like you don't need millions.
Yeah, but this isn't Disney. This is the Great American Novel. This is the real stuff.
This is the ramblings of a drunk who that's really just me laying into Scott Fitzgerald. He can't protect himself. This is the ramblings of a drunk who hung out with Hemingway and car crashed his life and just like, hey, I'm going to write this story about a guy who does the same.
Yeah, but it's beautiful stuff, right? But there's kind of like a poetry to the writing, and I think I said like I've read this about a decade ago, most recently, but I read it when I was a student as well. So I've read it a few times in my life, and there are just passages from it that just kind of cycle in my head. And there's one in particular, like before it all kind of goes to shit near the end. There's a phrase: "We drove on towards death in the cooling twilight." That just kind of echoes in my head, and like the very last paragraph, people talk about that. People quote that all the time. Like it's a poetic book, and it also has these really strong images, like you were talking about the green light on the dock of Daisy's house across the bay. It's the construction of it is just really artful, right?
Yeah.
And he knows exactly what he's doing throughout.
Oh, he knows exactly what he's doing because he's made me hate imaginary people. Like he's got that feeling from me immediately. I just go like, I wouldn't talk to these people.
Have you been to any parties like this?
No. I was never rich enough. We had like university parties in an area of Belfast known as the Holy Lands, and as much of a disaster as the aforementioned Holy Lands. It was just nothing like this. No, I'll not tell stories about what happened in those house parties.
Oh, you can tell one. Tell a little anecdote.
No, it's just the area of Belfast itself is crazy. It would like, so as much lights are on at Gatsby's house for these parties, there would be the same amount of police lights going around this like university area in Belfast. I'll take you to it someday. It's a wonderful place. Because any story I tell about like back home, I always have to finish with it. Like, but it's a wonderful place. The other like. You're saying that line towards the end of it. This is maybe like the only artsy thing I'll say. We drove along Say it again. We drove along.
So we drove on towards death in the cooling twilight. I just love it as a phrase.
Here's the second reason why I think Gatsby's a coward and a bit of a dick. Spoilers. Daisy and Gatsby are driving back
Mm-hmm.
from
Like a bit of a sesh in the
Yeah.
city. Yeah.
and
Daisy's driving.
ends up killing Tom's mistress.
Because earlier Tom was driving the car,
Yes.
so she thinks it's
Yes.
her boyfriend's car,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not.
No.
It's her boyfriend's wife's boyfriend's car. It's messy stuff, right? It's messy
so
stuff.
convoluted. But she ends up going back and like Gatsby's getting the frame for this. Daisy's being treated like an egg in the house. Be like, oh my poor wee darling, you had to see that happen, and she's like, 100%, I got to see that happen. Fucking laid her out flat. Fuck your mistress. Sorry, language. But Gatsby knows he's been framed for this here, and for the war veteran that he is, and the survivor of everything, he just drove coolly out to the pool that evening, knowing that George, Myrtle's husband, was.
Oh, he's wild with grief, and so he finally figured out that she was playing around.
After she's dead, because Tom turned up at the wake, just going like, "How's my darling?" But yeah, just calmly and coolly just walks out into the pool. That even lets him shoot him, and the other guy shoots himself, and then that's it. Story's over.
Mm-hmm. And Nick moves back to the Midwest. Stops dating the golf celeb. Almost certainly goes back to like the person he was seeing before, right? Just returns to the life that he had a year earlier.
That's what made me think this happened over a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's not, but for him, it's like a lost weekend in his life.
Yeah,
It's that the rest of his life he's going to be that year I spent living in New York. Oh, crazy times. This is the story he's going to tell for the rest of his life. This was when his life was most interesting.
Just on the story he's going to tell for the rest of his life. We're going to finish it up in a final word after this here, because we have to go for some advertisements now, but we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Kenneth Cunliffe, and you may notice I'm a rather beautiful puppet. I was made by the good people at Dark Matter Puppets in Essex. And if you need a puppet made, or you want to buy a puppet that's already been made, find Dark Matter Puppets on Instagram or Facebook and send them a message. Tell them Kenneth sent you. That's right. Buy yourself a puppet. What are you waiting for?
Great, I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed that bonus advert. That was not meant to be there.
No,
we just
it wasn't.
love advertising so much.
That was a false ending. Pretty much as false as the ending in this fucking masterpiece.
But it's abrupt, right? But that's part of its power. This is a story about this guy called Gatsby, who I lived next door to over a summer. Chaos happened. It's not really Gatsby's story, right? It's a story about all these different people, about Daisy and Tom just fucking around with the money they've got and the freedom they've got. Gatsby desperate to claw into their world, but he's got a lot of money, right? But he doesn't have the connections. He doesn't have the class. He can't make himself powerful. He can make himself rich, but he can't make himself powerful.
I bet this is a way, like F. Scott Fitzgerald, during his later years, whenever he started like getting on the drink a wee bit, has just heard somebody tell a mental story in a bar some night, and he's going like, God, I wonder could I do my own version of that? I just like, okay, make it just like a year out of somebody's life. But this one's done. I liked it. It was a pretty good book. It was pretty short, 100 pages. Great book to start out on for big bald people like myself. What's our next book?
I don't think we've decided that, so let's not make promises we can't keep.
Yeah. I want to get like a review of a book before I like get into it and find out that it's 700 pages long.
Yeah, exactly. We both got busy lives. We've both got busy lives.
That's it. Read it up there.
Yeah, I think it's a classic for a reason, right? It hits you in the heart, hits you in the gut, hits you in the soul. It's a very good piece of literature. What a treat to read it again.
It was a good book.
Yeah. Was it a great book?
Oh.
They could call it the Great Gatsby, couldn't they? The Great Gatsby.
It was the OK Gatsby.
The OK Gatsby. I mean, I think if this isn't hitting the heights for you, you've got very high standards.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it is. That's absolutely what it is. We'll find it out for the next time anyway. But I've been Martin Corrigan.
I've been Scott Manley Hadley. Thank you so much for joining
We'll see you
us.
on the Big Bald Book Club next time.
It's the Big Bald Book Club. We're gonna read some books. Listen to the Big Bald Book Club. If you wanna see more, smarter about books and that.